Hello dear students, today I am going to make a recording of a class for you, The Merchant of Venice, Act 3, Scene 2. As you have told me, we have studied up to Act 3, line around 250. I think that is correct. As I told you earlier, Act 3, Scene 2 of any Shakespearean play is very important because some very serious matter. It is a center of the play almost. Important events in the plot happens in this scene. Like in a tragedy like Macbeth, we have a murder happening in that scene. Same with Julius Caesar. Murder of Julius Caesar happens in Act 3, Scene 2. In this play, it is a comedy. We don't have a murder, but we have one good thing happening and then another thing which is not so good, which is again going to take the play forward and creating some problems. The good thing is Bassanio has won Portia through the lottery of the casket. As you know, he chose the correct casket, which was a lead casket. You know that happened. What was the reason why he chose? What was the reason he chose the lead casket? All those, his logic in choosing that, his logic, as you know, he was one should not go by external appearances. That is why he didn't choose the other casket like golden one or silver one, but he went for the lead one, which is in fact there was a threatening message along with that. That happened. Portia is happy, everything is beautiful. Speeches happened after that. Meanwhile, a messenger comes, that is Salerio, one of the minor characters, one of the friends of Antonio and Bassanio, who is a good man in the circle, and he has brought a letter, and it is handed over to whom? It is handed over to Bassanio, who was a happy man after getting Portia. So, this letter is read by Bassanio. Meanwhile, Graziano and Salerio, they are having a conversation, and Salerio almost suggesting the letter is not bringing good news. It is bringing some bad news. And what is the bad news? That Antonio's ships have mostly been destroyed. There is no news of any ship returning, and the expected date or the agreed date for returning the money, 3000 ducats, is already over. And then the Jew wants to get his bond. What is his bond? He would take a pound of flesh from whichever part of Antonio, which as per his likeness. And now it looks like the Jew does not even want the money back. He wants only to get justice, which means his intention is ultimately to kill Antonio. So, this letter is read by Bassanio, and as it is read, Portia is observing Bassanio, something is going wrong. Bassanio is getting disturbed, and she can see it in his face. That is the dialogue from line 245. You should open the textbook to line Act 3, Scene 2, 245. In the book, it is page number 134, and follow with me. Keep your notebooks ready and try to listen with me, and in case you find it is little fast or something, you listen a second time. I will be telling the word meanings. Eventually, along with that, I will be writing down the word meanings and finally post it for you. So, it is line 245, I am reading that. There are some shrewd contents in yon same paper that steals the color from Bassanio's cheek. Some dear friend dead, else nothing in the world could turn so much the constitution of any constant man. What worse and worse? With Lee Bassanio, I am half yourself, and I must freely have the half of anything that this paper brings you. the meaning of the word shrewd, the meaning is written in your book only, unpleasant. The meaning is unpleasant. Shrewd has other meanings also, like very clever and all, but Shakespeare's English, it is unpleasant, some bad news. Content is the news, what is there, what is written there. In that same paper, it looks that like there are some very bad news is there in that letter, that is stealing the color from Bassanio's cheek. Bassanio's cheek is happy, it was, his face was so happy, cheek is referring to the face, cheek. It was happy and it was all pleasant, but it is now becoming colorless, it is becoming pale because of some sadness, fear. It can be that some friend is dead, some dear friend is dead. Otherwise, nothing in the world could turn so much the constitution of any constant man. Constitution means the look, the health, the condition, that is a constitution. A man who is stable and healthy, he will not become so disturbed, he will not become, unless the news is something very serious, like some friend in the world, some close friend is dead. So, she is almost able to understand something wrong has happened. What worse and worse? Why? Even Bassanio is becoming even worse than that, he is becoming even more disturbed. With leave, Bassanio, with leave means with your permission, Bassanio, I am half yourself. You know the expression better half. Wife is a better half, that means she is like half of your being. So, she should know everything, half that this same paper brings you. So, she is asking, I want to know half of anything that this letter brings to you. You can read the meaning over there, the other side. There is some bad news in that letter that has made Bassanio turn pale. Some dear friend must have died, for nothing else in the world would change the condition of any normal man. His condition becomes worse and worse, she can observe that, that is why she is saying this. With your permission, Bassanio, now I am half of yourself. So, I must freely have the half of anything that this letter brings to you. So, that is a dialogue. We could read it couple of times and we will go to the next one. Bassanio, O sweet Portia, here are a few of the unpleasantest words that ever blotted paper. There are few very bad, unpleasant, unhappy, not good one, words ever written on a paper. Blotted here means written. Blotting is normally like spoiling a paper, we think that is blotting, but here it is referring to write, because it is bad news, it must have, the idea is the reference is that since it is a bad news, it has disturbed the paper. Gentle lady, when I did first impart my love to you, when I gave my love to you, impart means share, communicate my love to you, I freely told you all the wealth I had ran in my veins. Even the very first time when I met you, I had told you the only wealth I have in this world is the blood in my veins, the blood which is flowing in my veins. That means I do not have any money other than my very being, my blood. Now, blood referring to his status, like he is a gentleman, he is a man of some social stature, like a noble man, that is what he is telling. And then I told you, true and yet dear lady, I had told you that very correctly. In spite of that, still dear lady, rating myself at nothing, you shall see how much I was a braggart. Braggart means one who is boasting, bragging, one who brags. Brag means B-R-A-G, brag means boast. What do you mean by boast? Boast means telling so much, speaking great about oneself. Brag, boast, B-O-A-S-T, that is the meaning of brag. Braggart means a boastful person. Boasting means one who considers himself and speaks that he is so great, he is doing so great things, such things. So, he said, when I said I had nothing, I was in fact only boasting. Why? The reason is, when I told you my state was nothing, I should then have told you that I was worse than nothing. My situation is not even that I have zero money. I have even a lot of debt, for indeed I have engaged myself to a dear friend. I have bound myself. Engage means bound, that means made an agreement with a dear friend. To his mere enemy, I have made my friend make a bond to his enemy. Referring to whom? Here he is speaking about Antonio, his friend, who has made a bond to his enemy, his very enemy. Mere here means very, which is Shylock. I made my friend, dear friend, make a bond with his enemy in order to get some money. So, Bassanio is telling he is not a man without money. In fact, he is a man who is in debt and also who has put his friend in trouble. To feed my needs is a need. So, what I did is I made a friend make a bond with his enemy in order to get some money for my needs. What was the needs? What were the needs of Bassanio? He needed, as I told you earlier, he needed some money to come to Belmont. He needed his servants appear as if he is a noble man. He is not like he shouldn't come like a beggar to marry, because princes and nobles were coming to marry Portia. Here is a letter lady. Now he is telling, here I am getting a letter. The paper as the body of my friend, every word in it a gaping wound, issuing lifeblood. This letter, the paper in which it is written is like the body of my friend, which is Antonio. The paper is like the body, and every word, every letter written is like a gaping wound. Gaping means a wound which is opened, like when you open your mouth, it is called gaping. A wound, sometimes a wound is written as if a lips opening. Maybe that is in Julius Caesar. Julius Caesar, Shakespeare uses that. Wounds are gaping lips. Lips, when you open your mouth, that is a gaping. So, here these letters are like wounds on the body of Antonio, and each one is issuing, letting go of through which the blood is oozing out, coming out. What means? It is like Antonio is dying in these wounds. But is it true, Salerio? Hath all his ventures failed? Now he is talking to Salerio out of his excitement. Is it true, Salerio? Has all his businesses, all the ships which had gone to Tripolis, India, Mexico, all different countries, all have failed. None of them have returned. What? Not one hit. One hit means not even one has successfully come back. From Tripolis, from Mexico, England, Lisbon, Barbary and India, so many ships names are given here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Not one vessel escaped the dreadful touch of merchant marine rogues. Not even a single ship, vessel here is ship, escaped the dreadful touch of it does not mean that all the ships are destroyed by rocks. Some of them, we had told you earlier, another big threat is, two threats were mentioned in the first scene only. One is shallow waters, where water is not deep enough. So, the ship gets stuck in sand, from which nobody can do anything. That also can cause big problem. Sometimes it is pirates, thieves in the sea. They come and kill everyone and steal all the goods. So, these three dangers were suggested in the very first scene only. But now he is talking about they were all dreadful touch, very dangerous touch of rocks of the sea. Marring, M-A-R, mar. Mar means destroy something, ruin something, M-A-R. Destroy. That is the meaning of the word. Marring means destroying, which destroys the ship. So, he is asking to Salerio. Let us read through the paraphrase. Oh dear Portia, this letter has some of the most unwelcome words that were ever written on paper. Unpleasant, unwelcome. Gentle Portia, when I first made known my affection for you, affection is love, I told you that my only wealth was my noble blood, and I was a gentleman. What I said was true. Yet, dear lady, when I claimed my wealth as nothing, I was exaggerating my position. Exaggerating means bada chada ke bolna, telling more than what I had. When I told you that I owned nothing, I should have told you that I was less than nothing. I have not even nothing. You know all this concept of zero and the negative numbers. When you are in a debt, you can say you are in having some negative numbers. When I told you that I owned nothing, I should have told you that I was less than nothing. I have bound myself to a dear friend. I made a pledge himself to his worst enemy. I made him pledge himself, that is, made Antonio pledge himself to his worst enemy, which is Shylock, to get the money I needed. Money he needed, for what purpose? Here is the letter, lady. The paper on which it is written may be compared to the body of my friend, and every word in it an open wound. Its mouth is open. Gaping means opening, from which his blood is gushing out. You see, when water flows out with so much force, that is called gushing. Is it true, Salario? Have all his business ventures failed? What has not one survived? His ships were sailing from Tripolis, Mexico, England, Lisbon, Barbary, and India. Has not one ship spared from the wreck on the dangerous rock that often ruin merchants? Salario, not one, my lord. Besides, it should appear that if he had the present money to discharge a Jew, he would not take it. Never did I know a creature that did bear the shape of man, so keen and greedy to confound a man. He plies the duke at morning and at night, and doth impeach the freedom of the state. And if they deny him justice, 20 merchants, the duke himself, and the magnificos, the greatest sport have all persuaded with him. But none can drive him from the envious plea of forfeiture of justice and his bond. Okay. So, here very clearly things are turning out to be very dangerous. So, what is it? Here Salerio is saying that even if you have none of the ships have returned, first of all, not one, my lord. Besides, moreover, it looks like that. It should appear means it looks like that. It seems that if he had the present money to discharge the Jew, if he had the entire money to pay back to the Jew, which is Shylock, he would not accept it, he would not take it. Never did I know a creature that did bear the shape of man. I have never seen a creature. Now he is like an animal or something with the shape of a man, a human shape, an animal in human shape. So keen, so eager to do something, but in this case a bad thing, and greedy. Greedy is one who wants to do things, to confound a man. Here confound means destroy. He wants to destroy Antonio, that is his real purpose. He plies the duke at morning and at night. He appeals to the duke. He goes and tells the duke morning and night, every time he is there, he doth impeach the freedom of the state. What is he talking about? He is referring to making references to the country system of justice. That you have a law, are you going to follow this law? Is it equal to everyone? So the duke and all are somehow bound by that. That is why he is doing this. And impeach the freedom of the state if they deny him justice. He is asking, are you going to? So that means he is threatening the legal action against the country system. If they do not give him justice, what is the justice? The agreed terms of that bond should be fulfilled. In this case, he does not want the money because it is not given on time. Now, he wants to take a pound of flesh. The Duke himself, 20 merchants, the Duke himself and the magnificos of greatest fort have all persuaded with him, who are magnificos noblemen. All these people, so many merchants, the Duke himself, all have requested him, persuaded him to do what? To withdraw this claim. Don't force his bond. But none can drive him from the envious plea of forfeiture, but no one can persuade him or even dissuade him. Dissuade means tell him somebody not to do it. So, nobody can make him to change his mind, prevent him from what is his plan? From that envious plea. Envious means one who wants to hurt somebody, having revenge in his mind. Envy means dislike or even jealousy. Envy or forfeiture of conditions of the bond of justice and his bond. Not a single one, my lord. That means none of the ships have returned. Further, it seems that even if he had money to repay the Jew, Shylock would not take it from him. Now, never have I come across a creature in the form of a man so eager and greedy to destroy another man. He appeals to the Duke morning and evening and threatens legal action against the country's system of justice if they deny it to him. 20 merchants, the Duke himself and the noblemen of the highest rank have advised him, but no one can prevent him from his revengeful claim for giving up the conditions of the bond and fulfillment of his legal demand. I will complete this audio because it is already 22 minutes and then I will record another one.